Hi, everybody. I'm Charity Counts. I'm the Executive Director of the Association of Midwest Museums. Thank you for joining us today to celebrate our 2025 Promising Leadership Award recipient, Rahim Thompson, Senior Program Manager at Illinois Holocaust Museum and Education Center in Skokie, Illinois. Before we begin our program, I invite my co-host for this evening, DeAndrea Matthews, to offer our land acknowledgement.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is DeAndrea Matthews. I serve as the Vice President of Access and Community Engagement for the Detroit Zoological Society, and I am also on the Board of Directors for AMM as well as the Awards Committee. In this era of virtual meetings, when digital spaces may substitute our physical sense of place, it is important to redirect our attention to the land we each occupy in this moment and honor the Indigenous people who have called it home. Because I am located in Detroit, Michigan, I invite you to join me in acknowledging the Anishinaabe Nation, including the Ojibwa, Ottawa, and Potawatomi tribes, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. Thank you.
Thank you, DeAndrea. I have a few housekeeping notes before we begin the program today. First of all, we invite you to participate as you're comfortable. And this means that you can have your video on or off, it's totally up to you. But please keep your audio muted until we ask you to unmute. There will be moments to clap and cheer. This is an awards event, after all. And we want you to get loud for our recipient. You may also wave or snap your fingers if you don't want to hoot and holler and clap. And you can also use the chat or reaction tools found in your Zoom window. We have Zoom's built-in transcription feature turned on, so you can turn on captions by clicking the CC button in your Zoom menu. We also have an ASL interpreter with us today. I've added a spotlight to our interpreter, our hosts, and our recipient to ensure that they remain at the top of your screen if you're using gallery view, or the primary videos on your screen if you're using presenter view. And you can toggle between these options for views in your Zoom window. For those of you getting to know AMM for the first time today, I'd like to give you a little bit of background on our organization. We were founded in 1927, which makes us one of the very first museum associations in the country. We serve an 8-state region, including Illinois, where our recipient is located. We host many virtual programs each year, but the awards are my favorite. It's a joy to celebrate all of our honorees through events that bring together their peers in the museum community, as well as their staff and colleagues and family and friends. So we're glad that you're here with us today, or if you're tuning in later with the recording, we're glad you're here too. Now I'll pass the mic back to DeAndrea and get the awards program started.
Thank you, Charity. The Promising Leadership Award recognizes individuals whose careers have just begun, but whose impact on their organization has already been deep and wide. What they all have in common is a knack for leadership. Rahim Thompson is no exception. Relatively new to the museum profession, he brings a background in project management, journalism, and production to his role. Rahim has developed more than 200 public programs for the museum addressing today's most urgent issues, from antisemitism and genocide to LGBTQ plus rights and racial justice. In recognition of his leadership, Rahim was promoted to the project team for the expansion of the museum's award-winning Survivor Stories experience, which recently made history by adding 3 new testimonies, including that of Kizito Kalima, the first non-Holocaust survivor featured, a survivor of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. Known for his positive attitude, collaborative spirit, and commitment to mentoring junior team members, Rahim is widely respected for fostering an environment where everyone feels seen, respected, and empowered. We are pleased to recognize Rahim with the Promising Leadership Award. During today's program, we will get to learn about his people-centered approach to programming and how he's fostering an environment where everyone feels seen, respected, and empowered. I now invite everyone here with us today to unmute or use your Zoom reaction icons to join me in a round of applause for Rahim. Rahim, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you, Deandra. Thank you, Charity. Um, most of all, thank you to my colleague at the Illinois Holocaust Museum. This has been a great year, and I'm excited for this. Um, yeah, I never really thought stuff like this was possible, especially at a museum or just in any industry. But I'm glad that I was able to receive this award and just try. This is something different for me. Most of the time, I'm just quiet and I just do my work. But this year, I wanted to see if there was any value to what I was doing, and I'm glad to see that is valued in other places as well.
Thank you, Rahim. I'm glad that through this awards program, we can validate the work that you're doing. I think that a lot of people in the museum sector, because a lot of us do what we do passionately and because we love it, we want to do good. Sometimes we don't stop to, recognize the work that we're doing, or sometimes we feel like we're not doing enough. And so it does help to have your peers kind of look in from the outside and give you feedback in that way. Glad the awards program can do that for you. Well, I'm really excited about our program because we get to chat with you a little bit about your career and your approach and lots of other things. And so this should be a fun conversation for everybody to listen to. But if you want, those of you who are in attendance live today, you can also participate by submitting questions that you have as we go, or sharing your comments on the things that we're talking about. And at the end of our program, there may be a little bit of time for those of you who know Rahim to even say a few words if you want. So I'm going to dive right in. I've got a few questions to get us rolling, and we'll just keep chatting. And like I said, as you all have questions, we'll work those into the conversation. First, I want to start with your career path, Rahim. While some people who work in museums kind of grew up always dreaming of working in museums, a lot of us find ourselves just sort of stumbling into the museum sector, into this work. And it's an unexpected path. What drew you to your role at the Illinois Holocaust Museum and Education Center?
It's a great question. Well, first, originally, my dream path, which I was living for a while, was journalism. I wanted to be a journalist. From as early as 10 years old, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I had a great path into it, but I pivoted into program management and the medical device and pharmaceutical industry. And I loved it. It was really cool because it combined everything that I loved about journalism, but into a different format. But during the pandemic, we were asked to make some financial sacrifices in terms of pay cuts and different things. So I realized I may have to transition. So I wanted to get ahead of it. And the day I decided I wanted to leave, I saw the advertisement of the museum. And it was the first day it was up. And I read the description. And I was like, wow, this is exactly what I'm doing, but it's making people better. I was doing stuff to make companies better and risk management and things of like that. And I was curious. So I was like, I'll see if I'll put my application in and see if I get called for an interview. And I did not got called for an interview. And I met our senior vice president, and we had so much in common, all the way until like where I lived in high school is like the area where she lived. So she knew like my high school and the area, the region. We both had sports backgrounds. So I just felt really comfortable with our senior vice president. And to me, I've always made decisions based off the leadership because I needed to be in environments where I'm comfortable, where I can grow, and people that understand that I am very career oriented and ambitious. So I wanted to be where I felt like the leadership would understand me. And I conveyed during the interview process that I don't have a museum background. I don't have a Holocaust background, but I can do the job. I know I can do this job. And I'm willing to learn the rest along the way. And when I got hired, my second day I had a public program. I was scared. I knew I was going to embarrass myself. I knew I wasn't going to be a finished product, but I said I would learn, and I went in all in on it.
I love that. I love that you could see that your skills transferred and that your interests, like you could immediately kind of visualize yourself in the role. I think that, those of us who kind of stumble in don't always picture that. And sometimes when we get there, it's very unexpected, right? It's a
Yeah,
space. I grew up in rural Indiana and I didn't visit a lot of museums, so I had no idea that there were jobs in museums. Although I guess my impression was that the only jobs that existed in museums were security and curators, which I didn't know what that even meant, right, growing up. So when I got to see behind the scenes, right, working in museums, my mind was kind of blown. And I can imagine you kind of, as you got in and explored this, you were feeling some of that. So what surprised you most about going to work in museums and kind of being behind the scenes of making what they are possible? And did you learn anything new that you didn't realize about museums before?
every day. Even this year, learning that there's conferences, there's organizations, there's support groups, there's peers that you make and you discuss things amongst each other. There's a whole community. Um, every day, even I'm going into my fifth year. Every day I learn something new, and as cliche as it sounds, it is so true because I came in just raw, like not knowing anything about a museum. I didn't even grow up visiting museums as a kid. So every time I just learned something different. And what I like about it is you see some of it's like everyday life, especially at the museum we're at. It's so much of everyday life, how you deal with people. And museums are a safe place for a lot of people, almost like libraries. When I was a library kid, I used to go
Mhm.
to the library to find my safe place to read and have peace. And a lot of people come to museums for the same thing. So it's something that I appreciate, and that now is forever going to be a big part of my life.
So you said that journalism was your dream, right? So when you think about what it is you love about journalism or in doing that kind of work, have you found pieces of that in the work that you're doing?
Yeah,
So
that's
tell us
why I
about
love it.
that. Yeah.
Uh, well, in journalism, what I specialized in was feature stories, which are profiles on people. So, like anytime when I started off in high school sports, anytime a great high school athlete or someone they wanted to get to know, they would send them to me or send me out there to interview them because I would get to the core of beyond the sport and tell people what makes this person interesting
Mm.
beyond what they do on the field. Who is this person? I fell in love with feature. I used to read Sports Illustrated, The New Yorker, like all those long form pieces. And that's what I wanted to do. And what I found in this role is the same people aspect of it I see in my teams, I see in the people we work with, the stories we tell. I just always been drawn to storytelling and people and the beyond the surface type of things.
Oh, that's great. Well, you know, uh, yes, obviously, most of the programming that you're engaged in producing is storytelling. And I'm sure that's sort of your sort of love of people and sharing that human side of things is, um, playing a key part in how you approach this work. So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about the programs that you're doing at the Holocaust Museum and experiences that you've been a part of creating. Um, so my first question is, I know that the Illinois Holocaust Museum says that programs are guided by this principle: remember the past, transform the future. What does that mean?
Um, Using what happened in the past as almost a teaching tool. You know, every, in all aspects in life, we choose to move forward, but the best lessons are always learned through history. You know, we learn that as a long time. So what can we learn from the examples of others, the mistakes of others, the people who've chosen to forgive through some of the worst circumstances or chosen to move forward and still make a good life for themselves or life for themselves for generations? How can we use all of this so that whatever happened in the past, is not forgotten, but is used as a tool to make a better present and future. So we use that by our programs. And what I do is take these lessons, take these stories, and package them in a digestible format for all kinds of people, all kinds of age groups and demographics, whether it's a lecture, whether it's a stage reading, a live performance, um, film screenings, just different ways where we can connect with people and meet them where they're at so that they can digest the information.
So I know that you've not really shied away from difficult topics. I'm kind of wondering if you can give us an overview of the topics that you've addressed. And then I know that DeAndrea mentioned a few in her presentation of the award, but just kind of give us a sense of like the range of topics. And then maybe let's talk about some examples of how you took one topic and then chose a format for talking about that particular topic. I think it would be interesting to kind of look at that.
Yes. Well, we do have our core Holocaust education aspect of our programming, but then we branch off into maybe indigenous history, whether it's LGBTQ rights, human rights, and struggle. And even in that, there's an umbrella of maybe it's like refugee and migrant experiences. Maybe it's the suppression of LGBT media, or just the history of Stonewall, or even just in the African American community, the plight of just Juneteenth, or sharing different experiences. So we try to take it when appropriate, but where it makes sense to where we can build partnerships. Because the most important thing of addressing all these topics is allowing a seat at the table for the unrepresented demographic to say, hey, we want to build a bridge. We want to lend our platform so that you can tell the story, so that you can help have a say in this. Because it's one thing to want to do it, but to really go out there and say, hey, it's more appropriate if we connect with the people that actually are experiencing it, that can help us tell these stories.
Have you found that particular formats have worked best for certain topics? Like,
Yes, absolutely. A great example is uh, when we had our Rise Up Stonewall exhibition, we did a diverse set of palettes for everything. So we did like a lecture for like an LGBT program. It was great, but what we found was we did a spoken word one where it was much more energetic, much more raw and enthusiastic. It sold out the whole place, and people was much more receptive to it. Sometimes it's good to sit and listen to people talk, but it's also good to have people engaged. And then there's times where we've done a film screening without a whisper, where it was about the women's suffrage movement and how the natives had a big play into it, but that it was also untold. So that was good to have people sit down and watch it and actually view it from that experience. But also then we would have a post-film discussion with the people who made the film, but also descendants of the people who made the impact. So it's good to frame it and then tell the story through the words of others. So it's just also just depending on how impactful it is, but also what are the people ready for? You know, one of the things I almost forgot this, but early on in my tenure, when I was trying to schedule programming for the second year, I said, "Hey, we should do a survey with our newsletter, with our core base of 10 plus thousand more. Let's see what they want to hear from us. Let's see what type of programs they like, what don't they like, how can we freshen this up, and let's talk about it." So we did send out a survey early on, and it helped frame how we approach things now. And some of the things we did, like we did Duke Ellington, um, like a jazz night, live performance with an Emmy Award winning trumpeter in his group. We found out that our audience they like that type of stuff. You know, they like to just kind of let loose. It doesn't like when people think Holocaust, they think doom and gloom, and it's not the case. It's more hope, and we're trying to show more of that, but also open our doors. And then to see that there were like people of all races when we opened up our Green Book exhibition, dancing and having fun. That's what it's about. Just opening the doors to everybody and making sure everyone has a safe space. But it starts with us and how we approach programming. And I always say, treat every program as if it's a first impression to someone, because it is. You never know who's coming in that day, and who they will spread it to, and who will, and how it will benefit us down the line.
That's good advice, to treat every program as your first impression. I think it's easy to forget that, you may have some recurring participants, but each new experience is different for them too. So, I've been thinking a little bit about, obviously you're connecting a lot of points in history. You're also probably connecting it back to the Holocaust story as well. There's some intersectionality there, a lot of complex stories. And like you said, you're bringing in people to help you tell those stories. You're not just telling their stories for them, right? You're inviting people to the room. I know that we can easily fall into the trap of sort of thinking one person can represent an entire culture or time or whatever. And so I'm curious how you select the voices that are at the table, or how you arrive at those decisions, knowing that their point of view it's not monolithic, right? They might have
Exactly.
different experience than somebody else who's in the audience, but they need to be able to connect in some way. So how do you kind of go about that? And then how do you help make sure what they're talking about sort of still maybe relevant to somebody who has a different experience?
That's a great question, because again, it's not monolithic, and there are stronger voices than others. There's some people who are more opinionated than others, or some people who are more cynical about what are you going to do with this information. So you have to build the trust. And I think that comes back from just my journalistic experience. Each person I recommend, it's a tailored outreach. I spend a lot of time researching all the people I want to speak with. And when I reach out to them, I tell them why and what I hope to accomplish from this, and just starting being vulnerable myself. Like, hey, I remember when I first started, like, hey, I'm new in this role. We can learn together. We're gonna go through this together. If you choose to help us, look, partnership is a two-way street. Let us know how we can help you too. Like, don't be afraid to communicate with us. We coming in with open arms. So I just try to be the first one to be vulnerable, the first one to put away the ego and be clear about my intentions. Like, this is what I hope, but also give me feedback so that I can get the most of this experience. And it has been helpful. Some of the people I didn't even think I would be able to turn around. Some of the most stern people have become some of my biggest advocates and supporters. Um, but it just starts with just saying, hey, it's not about me, it's about this. If you're
Yeah.
really about this, let's come together and make it work.
Oh, that's great. So, it was mentioned earlier, over 200 programs, right? That's a
Yeah.
lot. So the next question I'm about to ask you, just gonna have to go with whatever first comes to mind. But you've done lectures, like you said, spoken word, you've had all kinds of different types of programs, film screenings, live performances. Is there any particular program that you put together that you feel like was especially impactful? And maybe, if you were able to reflect on that, what you think made it that impactful?
Oh, I would say the one I'm most proud of. It's okay. Most proud is tough because there are so many of them that I just cling to. But one of my favorites, and it's just a humble brag, because a year ago I read this book, King of Life, by Jonathan Ive, the Martin Luther King definitive biography. I read it, and I was like, this is going to win a Pulitzer. Like, I just knew it because I've read so many books since maybe 10 or 11 years old. I've read baseline 50 books a year. It's just what I do, alternate fiction, nonfiction. And I told our senior vice president and our director of education, hey, we should do something with this. This is a great book. We should do something. The thing is, I pitch so many programs. Sometimes they get lost. Sometimes It's like it's not just not the time. So the first year we just didn't do anything with it. I brought it up again, and a day before we announced the program, he won the Pulitzer. So I was like, I told you this was going to be the thing, and it was for Juneteenth, and we it was an interfaith program with that was based on MLK, and one of the interfaith leaders, we had his daughter present to have a discussion with the Pulitzer Prize winning author, with the faith leader, Pastor Chris Harris, and it was a trio, and it sold out. It was our first sold out Juneteenth program, and it was predominantly Black and Jewish, but it was so diverse, and it was inside our space, and I felt really proud about that because you just when you're deeply and when you're just so focused on your work and you have a pulse. After a while, I'm sure you can understand when you're so ingrained in what you do, you just kind of have an idea of what may work and what. And I just called my shot with that one, and I was
Mhm.
proud that it worked out.
That's awesome. I love that. So you were part of the expansion of the survivor stories as well, that whole experience at the museum. And as DeAndrea mentioned earlier, you brought in the story of Kizito Kalima, the first non-Holocaust survivor. So can you tell us a little bit about the choice to include Kizito's?
Well,
Um,
yeah. And the backstory for that is, so at the end of going into this year, I was kind of advocating, like, I know it sounds crazy doing all these programs. I was still asking for more work. I was asking for more opportunities. I was just like, hey, I think I got this under the wraps. I would like to continue to help with the growth of the museum. And I noticed like our senior vice president always has a plate full of things. I just said, hey, can I just help you? Is there any way can I just help out on this project? I want to be a part of this. I think I can help you. And she gave me a shot. And uh, Casino was one of the people part of it. And I got to be a part of that by going to LA and accompanying Casino the whole time for the filming, but also leading up the research. And I believe the museum was ready to expand and have a non-Holocaust survivor. And his story is tremendous. And I think about it often as I've got to know him, just for someone to forgive someone who done such like just atrocity to his own personal family and his own life to cause that much trauma and to choose to forgive. And there's a photo he has where he's sitting side by the person. And I would just think like, I don't know if I could do that. Like I'm someone who also lost a parent to violence. I don't know if I could sit next to my father's killer. And for him to do that, I was like, wow, like that lets me know there's some more growth to do for me as well, but that there's opportunities to in the release of it, of the burden to forgive. So I think his story is important to have inside the museum, not just for representation purposes, but his story is it appeals to everyone. You know, we all can. There's always someone in our life we should probably forgive, not just for them, but for us. And I got to spend a week with him for 10 plus hours a day while we were filming. I got to research. I read every book on him, every article, every video he put out in preparation to help with the script, to review the script. It was just such a cool project and opportunity, and I don't take it for granted. I'm very thankful for
wow, that's amazing. Um, it sounds like it caused a lot of self-reflection for
it.
you.
It
I'm sure
did.
for a lot of
It,
people.
it did. That's
Yeah.
why I love working here because it's just not a professional pursuit for me. It's a personal pursuit. You meet so many people because you always think the things you go through are so bad, and then you meet people who have gone through worse and have made better decisions, who have chosen to take the hard road to forgive and move forward, or to choose to be empathetic and kind. You know, our even from our education department, we have so many kind, empathetic people on our team. It really got me out of my shell. You know, I'm more introverted and quiet by nature. Like I am not someone who's just. You have to really get me out of my shell, and I'm growing. I'm this year pursuing things like this is part of me getting out of my shell to really do something. Otherwise, I would just head down and just work. But I think I'm growing in that aspect, and it comes from the team that we have here too.
Yeah, that's great. Can I ask if you know sort of what or if you can share anecdotes, like what has been the reaction to having Kazito's story? Um,
Oh man, it was great. I got to see the when we opened Experience 360. I got to sit with some of the first people to view it, and
oh,
you can see how touched. I sat by Kazito as he was viewing it for the first time. Yeah, yeah, I seen a vice president captured a nice picture of us together, but it was you can just tell how people were like just in awe of him. You know, just he's a big guy. He has to be like 6'10", he's massive. He's a giant, and but he's so kind and just soft spoken. But to see that, and you know, I don't know, something. It's just always in awe, just the power of humanity, the people who choose to make these things. And it's not always the most popular person or the most known person, but everyday people you meet who choose to make these decisions, um, they deserve to be acknowledged. So I'm glad it's going to be forever at the museum.
yeah, awesome. Thanks, Rahim. Um, kind of another piece of your work here, the museum recently opened a new location in downtown Chicago, the Experience 360 site. Tell us a little bit about what that is. And then also, I know that you're working at both places, so I'm curious how you're programming that space.
Yeah. So what's happening is our Skokie branch, our main branch, is going through a significant renovation. It is going to be transformed into some people. It's going to be more modern and just better than ever, especially the programming space. So because of that, we're going to have to use remote spaces, but we also have a satellite location at 360 North State Street, right in like almost like the heart of River North. Um, and during this space, we haven't started programming here yet, but we just started having field trips, so kids can still get out here. And Monday through, I don't know if I should say that, a couple of times a week, I am here, and then I'm in Skokie. I still have my Skokie office, and most of our programming is up north, usually at Wayfarer Theaters, just so that we can still feed our base, who's predominantly up north. But we also want to use this time to build a new base in downtown Chicago, whether it's a younger demographic or just people who have never had a chance to go down to the museum. So eventually, 2026, we're going to start having programs here. I'm actually in our potential programming space right now. So it's something that's developing.
Awesome. Okay, I just want to offer a quick reminder to folks who are listening in today and with us. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the chat. Happy to address any of those before we wrap up today. We've got a little bit more time, so I have a few other kind of high-level questions for you to think about. Mostly an opportunity to sort of reflect with you, leader to leader. The first kind of set is thinking about museum people, right? You're in this sector now, you're doing this work. As somebody who's sort of new to the profession, I wonder if you have any advice for sort of up and coming museum professionals, maybe folks who, like you, haven't yet stumbled upon their career in museums, right? Or in the arts and culture sector broadly. What would you say to them? Any words of inspiration for getting involved, considering this career path?
Yes, do it. Yeah, do it. And once you're in, this is what I tell some of our younger interns and everyone is enjoy this because there's not a lot of places like I I can't say I worked at a lot of places because I haven't, but what I know is the museum people I've met are some of the most passionate, thoughtful, helpful people. And it's been everywhere I've been. They really believe in community. So be a great community member. Reach out, reciprocate, be a part of it. It is great. And this is my first year of just saying, hey, I'm going to put myself out there. And it's been nothing but a great experience. Better than I ever thought, sometimes more than what I was ready for. But enjoy it because it's all worth it. And if you're going through something, 9 times out of 10, there's someone that's going to relate to you.
Yeah.
It's all similar things. We all face similar challenges, which is good to kind of have someone to brainstorm with.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate that. Also, I feel like you said just do it. I just wanted to see that Nike swoosh just.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we think about your sort of, you know, what the work that you're doing currently, anything that you're looking forward to that's on the horizon that you want to share with us?
Yes, we're already starting to plan 2026. I am always excited about planning the new year. Um, my thing is always tell myself this year is going to be a win, and then here's how. Every day I tell myself that, like every day is going to be a win, but this year is going to be a great year. And my goal this year is to build upon the partnerships and some of the relationships I'm building. I want to work with other museums. I want to work with other organizations. It's just about finding the way in and building, like I said, building that trust and just so that we can collaborate. Because to me, it makes no sense for us all to be museums and we don't have any projects together. We don't have any programs together. We're not doing anything together. I just think as a whole, especially in today's climate, we're better together.
So, and how many sort of programs are you planning for next year? Just to give us a sense of like,
We always say we're gonna do fewer, but we say that. So I'm gonna say 40 to 50
okay, I
throughout the
kind of
year. Yeah,
wondered.
it's gonna be 40 to 50. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a better job of pacing myself.
Mm,
And when I take breaks, I'm gonna take breaks, but it's probably gonna be 40 to 50.
all right. So, how do you keep yourself motivated and keep the energy up in a busy schedule like that in the year?
Oh, well, I, I have a system in terms of I can track all the communication. It's really not a motivation thing. It's more for me. It's more of a managing the emotional load of it because you're dealing with so many people and so many. Because you're not just doing the programs for people. Sometimes I'm like people's therapist. I gotta listen to how nervous they are or how scared they are, and I have to talk them through it. Like it's gonna be fine. This and that. I'm more so hands on with everyone we work with like in
Yeah.
terms of whatever they need. If they need to rehearse, I'm there on a Saturday when I should be off or a Sunday. I'm just all in on just doing a great job. And that is good, but there are also times to balance it. And I'm learning how to balance it because it creeps up on me. I never know when I'm burning out until I'm burned out. And then it's
Mhm.
like, oh, yeah. But it's kind of hard because I enjoy it. Like and it sounds unbelievable, but I love what I do so much that it's just part of my day. It's not like, oh, I have to go to work. It's just, oh, I'm going to do this. And it just happens to be work.
I appreciate that you mentioned the emotional load because I do think that when you're working with the topics that you're working with,
Yeah.
it's for people in their lives and trying to connect people to that.
Yes.
It's a lot, and you probably think about it a lot outside of
I
work,
do.
not in the office. So,
And try not to take it home. It's one of the reasons why I don't work from home because I do have the option, but I do not want to take work home because my first year I was reading so much that like I didn't know how to turn it off. And you got to balance your personal life with your professional life. So I don't, I work where I'm supposed to work and I'm at home where I'm supposed to be at home. So I just kind of set a boundary.
that's great. I appreciate that you are sharing that with us because I think people, um, it's really easy to get sucked into the working from home thing and just not letting it all set aside. Okay, we're down to the last few minutes. I've been thinking about this as over the course of our conversation and some of what you were saying about Kizito. Um, I mean, these are challenging times. It's very divisive. I mean, everything feels like it's you don't know what the reaction is going to be to any conversation you have anymore, and it's hard. But it's also just a whole lot of change and challenge just across the board for museums and for people in their everyday lives. And I'm kind of wondering um, if you think back on the people you've met, the the panelists you've had, the programs you've organized. Are there any sort of nuggets of wisdom that have been shared with you that you could pass along to the rest of us, maybe to inspire hope or, give us motivation or wisdom to carry on?
Yes. Eh, the biggest thing I've learned since I started working here is every day is a choice.
Mm,
You choose. You can choose to forgive. You can choose to have a good day today. If an interaction is bad throughout the day, you can still choose to make the rest of the day great. Um, so I started to brainwash myself into believing every day I have a good day. Every day I wake up, I tell myself today is going to be a win, and you would never know how challenging the day was because I still decided I'm going to find a win within the day. So even no matter what circumstances you go through, find a win because every person that survived these atrocities, they found a win in that situation.
that's great. Every day is a choice. Well, we'll remember that one. Thanks, Rahim. This has been really great to chat with you and learn more about what you're doing. You know, and it's also been great to get to know you over the course of the awards program, since the conference. So, thanks for sharing with us, and we're glad to have your story and to be able to share that out far and wide. Um,
And likewise to you. A big credit to you because I remember just an initial email and just inquiring about this opportunity, and you were just so helpful and encouraging. Because again, this is something new, and I wasn't really sure how it went, and you made the process easy for me, and just I was excited about it, and I was really thankful to find out I received the award. So I want to give you a big thank you for that.
well, it's my job, but I appreciate that. Well, thanks again, and congratulations again, Rahim. I'm going to pass the mic back to DeAndrea to kind of wrap us up here, and we'll make sure that we get to celebrate one more time before folks depart today.
Absolutely. What a wonderful conversation and dialogue. Congratulations once again to you, Rahim. Let's all unmute one more time for a final round of applause.
Thank you.
Yay. All right. To everyone listening at home or at work, we thank you for being here, and we hope that this event has brought you some joy or inspiration as we close out the day today. We hope to see you at our next virtual awards event, which is going to be on Tuesday, October 27th, to honor Sarah Jane DeHoff, our Distinguished Career Award recipient. But that is all for now. So thank you for being here with us. Congratulations to Rahim. Thank you for sharing all of those nuggets of wisdom. We appreciate all of the guests who've joined us this afternoon, and have a great week. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.